Today we are reading Wilfrid Gordon McDonald Partridge, written by Mem Fox and illustrated by Julie Vivas. And the illustrations are beautiful. This is a new story for me. This is not an old one from my childhood, so this is a new one. There was once a small boy called Wilfrid Gordon McDonald Partridge, and what's more, he wasn't very old either. His house was next door to an old people's home, and he knew all the people who lived there. He liked Mrs. Jordan, who played the organ. He listened to Mr. Hosking, who told scary stories. He played with Mr. Tippet, who was crazy about cricket. He ran errands for Miss Mitchell, who walked with a wooden stick. He admired Mr. Drysdale, who had a voice like a giant. But his favourite person of all was Miss Nancy Allison Delacour Cooper, because she had 4 names just like him. He called her Miss Nancy, and he told her all his secrets. One day, Wilfrid Gordon heard his mother and father talking about Miss Nancy. "Poor old thing," said his mother. "Why is she a poor old thing?" asked Wilfrid Gordon. "Because she's lost her memory," said his father. "It isn't surprising," said his mother. "After all, she is 96. "What's a memory?" said Wilfrid Gordon. He was always asking questions. "It's something you remember," said his father. But Wilfrid Gordon wanted to know more, so he called on Mrs. Jordan, who played the organ. "What's a memory?" he asked. "Something warm, my child, something warm." He called on Mr. Hosking, who told him scary stories. "What's a memory?" he asked. "Something from long ago, me lad, something from long ago." He called on Mr. Tippet, who was crazy about cricket. "What's a memory?" he asked. "Something that makes you cry, my boy, something that makes you cry." He called on Miss Mitchell, who walked with a wooden stick. "What's a memory?" he asked. "Something that makes you laugh, me darling, something that makes you laugh." He called on Mr. Drysdale, who had a voice like a giant. "What's a memory?" he asked. "Something as precious as gold, young man, something as precious as gold." He is rather alive now. I haven't shown you many pictures, but I said the illustrations are quite lovely. Oh. So Wilfrid Gordon went home again to look for memories for Miss Nancy because she'd lost her own. He looked in the shoebox of shells he'd found long ago last summer and put them gently in a basket. He found the puppet on strings, which always made everyone laugh, and he put that in the basket too. He remembered with sadness the medal which his grandfather had given him, and he placed it gently next to the shells. Next he found his football, which was as precious as gold. And last of all, on his way to Miss Nancy's, he went into the hen house and took a fresh, warm egg from under the hen. When Wilfrid Gordon called on Miss Nancy and gave her each thing one by one. "What a dear, strange child to bring me all these wonderful things," thought Miss Nancy. And then she started to remember. She held the warm egg and told Wilfrid Gordon about the tiny speckled blue eggs she'd once found in a bird's nest in her aunt's garden. She put a shell to her ear and remembered going to the beach by tram long ago and how hot she'd felt in those button-up boots that she'd had to wear. She touched the medal and talked sadly about her big brother that she'd loved, who'd gone to war and never returned. She smiled at the puppet on strings and remembered one she'd shown to her sister and how she had laughed with a mouthful of porridge. She bounced the football to Wilfrid Gordon and remembered the day she'd met him, all the secrets they had shared. And the two of them smiled and smiled because Nancy's memory had been found again by a small boy who wasn't very old either. And that's the end.